Chapter 3. Show Us the Boat. I did so see George Washington, Matt's little sister Katie insisted. Katie was only 7, but she always knew how to stir up trouble. She stamped her foot and her springy red curls bobbed up and down. You mean you saw him in a book, 10-year-old Emma Capel corrected her. Or maybe you saw him on a dollar bill, Emma's sister Lily added. No, Katie persisted. I saw the real George Washington. Lily and Emma scowled. The two sisters were twins, but not identical. Although they both had long chestnut brown hair, Lily's eyes were deep brown, while Emma's were crystal blue, and their personalities were as different as the color of their eyes. Lily was a good student and a take-charge kind of girl. She loved to run fast, ride horses, and boss everyone around. Emma, on the other hand, was an artist and a dreamer. She loved fashion, flowers, and make-believe. On this afternoon, the girls were eating Mrs. Capel's fresh, hot, homemade chocolate chip cookies at the counter in the twins' kitchen. Lily and Emma knew they had homework to do too, but like the boys, they decided to put it off until later. Emma had talked the other girls into playing Model Makeover, her favorite TV reality show. The three wore old bridesmaids' gowns that the twins' mother had altered for them, along with her old fake fur coats. The striped tights on their legs and the scuffed sneakers on their feet made for an unusual contrast with the formal dresses, but the girls didn't mind. I love my dress, Katie declared. It must have about 500 bows on it. She happily fingered the little yellow ribbons that were sewn around the hem. I hate bows, I hate dresses, and I hate pink, Lily grumbled. And this dress is the same gross pink color as cough medicine. You look beautiful, Lily, her mother said, coming back into the room. What about me? Emma asked, stroking her flouncy lavender gown. Don't I look beautiful too? She left her chair and twirled around on the floor. Like a princess, her mother said, smiling. But it looks like your hem is coming undone. Let me go get my sewing box and fix it before you trip and hurt yourself. It only needs a few stitches. Who wants to be a princess anyway? Lily griped once her mother was out of the room. Katie took out her little pink flashlight and shone it in Lily's face. You don't look so good, she said. I've got some candy pills in my doctor's bag that could help. Lily scowled as Katie dug into her pocketbook and held up a little bottle of blue candy pills. No thanks, Lily said. Those things taste like plastic. But they will make you all better, Katie insisted. No, they won't, Emma told her. They're fake, just like your George Washington story. But I really did see George Washington in a boat, insisted Katie. He gave me his socks. Matt and his friends were there with me. They're having their meeting in Tony's backyard right now. You can ask them. The twins turned in unison to look out the kitchen window. I don't see anybody over there, Lily said. That's because they're probably in Tony's tent, Katie told her. Why would George Washington give you his socks anyway? Asked Emma. Because my feet were cold, Katie explained. The twins' mother returned to the room with a white wicker sewing box. She threaded a needle and picked up the hem of Emma's dress. She sewed a few stitches, made a knot, and snipped it with her scissors. Just then a phone rang in the hall, and she left the room to answer it. I like your earrings. Are they new, Katie asked Emma. Yes, Lily and I both got a pair. Don't they look like real diamonds? She pushed back her hair to reveal the large, glittering, diamond-like studs in her ears. Lily did the same. Oh my goodness, Katie said, perking up. Did they cost $100? No, Lily explained. They were only $6 because they aren't real diamonds. They're pretend, just like your George Washington story. But I'm not pretending, Katie insisted. So George Washington, the first president of the United States, gave you his socks? Lily asked. Even though he's been dead more than 200 years, added Emma. The two girls broke into peals of laughter. Katie chewed thoughtfully on the end of her stethoscope. He didn't look dead to me, but he did have long white hair, and he wore funny-looking clothes. So what did you do? Travel back in time? Emma asked as she opened a bottle of red nail polish and began to paint her fingernails. Katie shrugged. I don't know. I guess so. How? Asked Emma. How did you travel back to George Washington's time? A boat took us there, Katie told her. Oh, right, a time travel boat. Emma shook her head and smoothed down the satiny skirts that fell over her orange and green striped stockings. They say George Washington never told a lie. And you shouldn't either, Katie Carleton, Lily scolded. But it's not a lie, cried Katie. You can ask Matt. If it's not a lie, then where are the socks? Emma demanded. Katie's lower lip trembled. I traded them with Q for some marshmallows, she said in a little voice. Sure you did, Emma sighed, waving her wet fingernails in the air. Come on, Lily. Let's go outside and pretend the dock is a runway. The two sisters sprinted out the door. I know you don't believe me, Katie called after them. I can't show you the socks, but I know where the boat is. It's in a secret place that only the boys and I know about. The twins stopped and turned back around. All right, then. Prove it, they said at the same time. Show us the boat. Okay, Katie said. I will. But first, can I have another cookie? Chapter 4. Somewhere Over the Rainbow. The boys had just torpedoed the last of the redcoats when Tony looked back through his spyglass and saw his mother out front, walking up the driveway. Their neighbor, Mrs. Capel, was with her. Red alert! Red alert! Non-members approaching the clubhouse, he whispered as the two women headed for the backyard. Have you fellows seen Katie and the twins? Mrs. Capel asked. Nope, Matt said with a satisfied smile. There are no girls here. Mrs. Capel's usually sunny face suddenly darkened with worry. I tried calling Emma on her cell phone, but she's not picking up. I wonder where they went. They should have been home by now. Leave it to Katie to have gotten into trouble already, Matt thought. Mrs. Capel looked down at her watch. They were playing dress-up and having a snack. Katie was talking some nonsense about a hidden boat in George Washington or something. Then they went back outside to play. But that was over an hour ago. Matt's mouth went dry. Don't worry, Sarah, Tony's mom tried to reassure her. The girls know they're not allowed to go beyond the cove. I'm sure they'll be back soon. Mrs. Capel nodded. You're probably right. She turned back to the boys. If you see them, please tell them to come home right away. I've got their supper waiting. Well, we will, Matt managed to stutter. Did you hear that? Hooter gasped when the two women were out of sight. Katie must have told them about the boat, Tony exclaimed. We've got to find them right away, said Matt. And when I find Katie, she's going to be sorry. You mean if you find her, Q interrupted. If she and the twins found the boat, they could be anywhere in time or space. What if they land in the middle of a real battle, Hooter whispered. We were lucky to make it back alive, Tony said. But Katie and the girls could end up like those people my grandfather told me about. The ones who went out on the lake and disappeared forever. Before anyone could say another word, Matt took off and the others followed. Katie, he shouted. Katie, where are you? But there was no reply. Matt's heart pounded as he picked up speed. The more he thought about his little sister getting into the old rowboat, the more frantic he became. Katie! Katie! Where are you? Hooter echoed. Lily! Emma! Q and Tony shouted. They followed the narrow path that curved around the lake. It led them deeper and deeper into the woods. The leaf cover overhead grew so thick it blocked out the sun. They made their way through a tangle of twisted vines and gnarly-looking trees. Even the air smelled different in here. It had a musty, wild scent. The shrill crackle of a crow, echoing through the woods, made everyone jump. Ow! Hooter cried, tripping over a log and falling to his knees. Q held his breath as he brushed a spider's lacy web from his cheek. Matt's own face stung as branches whipped across it while he ran. But he had to keep going. He had to find Katie. His heart pounding, he raced on. Soon he heard Tony yell, Stop! What is it? Matt shouted. Do you see them? Tony shook his head. This is crazy. They could be anywhere. What are we going to do? Asked Hooter. Why don't you try to call them? Q suggested. Matt took out his cell phone and snapped it open. He selected Emma's number and pressed send. It's ringing, he whispered. Beyond the bushes, somewhere in the distance, the faint tune of Somewhere Over the Rainbow could be heard. That's Emma's phone, Matt said. The boys ran toward the song and out to a clearing above a small cove. But as Matt looked down on Levi Lake, he saw a sight that chilled his blood. For there, in the tall weeds and shallow water, were Katie, Lily, and Emma. They sat, trance-like, still as stones, in the familiar old blue rowboat. Katie! Matt cried. Katie! Emma! Lily! Get out of there! Get out now! But the girls just stared straight ahead, their faces dazed and blank. The only sound to be heard was the plinking melody of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, coming from the phone clutched in Emma's frozen hand. Matt started down the hillside. Katie! Katie! He screamed as he ran toward the boat. Matt, no! Tony cried, reaching for his arm. You can't go down there, Hooter shouted, grabbing his other arm. Matt ignored their pleas and continued pressing on toward the boat. The boys, pulled along by Matt, shouted for him to stop. But once they reached the pebbled beach, the boat silently glided beside them, beckoning them to come in. The group fell suddenly quiet under its spell. Glassy-eyed, the four boys climbed aboard the small craft. They sat down next to the girls on the weathered old wooden seats. A blue mist rose up around them. As the craft began to quiver, a gust of wind whipped the baseball cap off Tony's head. Seconds later, there were neither boys nor girls nor a boat to be seen. An eerie silence followed. broken only by the sound of a wave gently lapping around the small blue baseball cap left floating on the water.